Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in and for watching live. Several of you are here early, which is always good to see. What's up, Dan in Thailand? Yes, I think you're in Pattaya, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Hi, Margaret. Here to learn. Awesome. Hey, Code Man. How's it going? Hey, Aaron. Good to see all of you. And Lulu from Croatia. Cool. Good to have you. Well, hello from sunny Bangkok. Not sunny at the moment, but it was so hot today. It was probably around 36. I love the heat, but one thing I do get tired of is heat at that extreme temperatures every day. So I spend a lot of time indoors in the air conditioning. It just gets so hot here. But good to have everyone here. If you're here, do say hi in the chat. If you've got any questions for Michael or I throughout the live, feel free to ask them in the chat, and we'll try to answer them. And if you're watching the replay and you've got questions, you can use the old comment section under the video to make a comment. Please do like the video; it really helps the channel, helps the video get out to more people, and I really appreciate it. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you, if you are not on my email list and you haven't heard yet, I am running a webinar like literally this week. Tomorrow is the first one. It's on 3 secrets to launching and growing your online ESL teaching business. You'll see a little ticker at the bottom, onlineteacherdude.com/webinar to reserve your spot. In tomorrow morning's session, which is Tuesday, we've got over 200 teachers coming. It's going to be a blast. Come and learn some new tips and tricks. I'm there to share value and to help you out. There'll be a live chat there as well where you can ask questions. If you can't make tomorrow's session, there's 2 more. There's one on Thursday and one on Saturday. So would love to have you there. It is free. Come and hang out if you've got 60 minutes to spare this week during one of those times. And if you do register, but you can't attend live, there will be a replay automatically sent out to you. Of course, I'd love to have you there live, but you can also catch the replay. But make sure you do register so that at least you're on the list. I'm going to be teaching 3 secrets. Basically, choosing your approach for launching and starting your business simply, without having to spend a lot of money, without having to overcomplicate things, as well as giving you a roadmap to launching with parents. We're going to talk about communicating, negotiating, selling your class packages, using lots of strategies that have worked for me and many of the teachers that I've coached and that have gone through my course. And then we're going to end with some marketing and scaling strategies as well at the end of the webinar to give you some tips and tricks to grow your student base, because it's great to get a few students to be able to teach privately, but we don't want to end there. We want to have a funnel in place and have systems in place so that we can grow and get more students and be able to have a sustainable teaching business, whether that's in China or beyond or in whatever niche and area that you're in. So today's topic is all about communicating and basically approaching parents, learning about what is in their mind as they're thinking about having classes with potential teachers, like those of us that are maybe teaching online and approaching former students and things like that. And I've invited Michael from Borderless Commerce because he is in China on the ground. He does business in China. He has a business, Borderless Commerce, and helps a lot of people to do business in China with e-commerce. And so I've invited him back to talk about specifically like what it's like to sort of understand what parents are thinking, how to negotiate with parents, and to sort of win them over, and then basically to encourage them to be able to share you to others, which is what we want to do as independent teachers. So let's welcome Michael to the show. Hey, Michael.
Hey, thanks, Tim. How's it going?
Yeah, going good. I know it's a little late for you. You're in China at the moment, Guangzhou, right?
Yes, I'm in Guangzhou, which is southeast of China.
Right. So I never went to Guangzhou when I was living there, close to Hong Kong-ish.
Yeah, close enough. I haven't been in Hong Kong due to COVID, but
But
yeah.
You can't go now.
No.
And I can't go see you either, so I don't think. No.
You're it's very tough for people that aren't Chinese, or if you're not coming here for work, to get into China. It's really tough landscape right now.
Before we get into things, like what's it like right there? Because many of us have students in China right now. and hearing different things like the Shanghai situation, even now in Beijing, it's not great. Like, what's it like in Guangzhou, and what's the sort of feeling around COVID? Is it kind of all coming back
Yeah.
again, or it's
It's
touchy
like
subject?
it's okay. It's okay. It's like a night and day. It depends on what region you're in. It's I know it's like a cliche answer, but it's very different experience if you're in the southern, northern, eastern, western part of China because
Hmm.
every little area municipal has their own way of managing the cities and the province.
Okay.
So I'm sure many people have heard about what's happening in Shanghai with the whole lockdown and what happened in Shenzhen earlier. They also had a little bit of a scare, but not as much as Shanghai. As far as Guangzhou, they're just being cautious. So we have to take our testing. The kids have to be testing like every 2 or 3 days. It depends on what the rules are for them to attend school. They did close school for a little bit for like 10 days, but now it's coming back to normal in Guangzhou. But it's kind of crazy. It's kind of hard to say because things change like on the fly here. So I can't just say, hey, it's gonna be great a week from now. I can't say that right now, honestly.
Yeah. Are you just over it? I
Yeah, I
mean, I just
mean,
can't imagine, because I think for most of us that are watching this whole thing go down, it's like, they really have a zero case policy, don't they, in many ways? And so even a small uptick causes this kind of mass hysteria and kind of shut down on things. But like, well, how are you doing? Are you just kind of used to it, I guess?
yeah, you get used to it. I tell my friends a joke, like if you get COVID, it's like committing a crime. It's like a joke, but
Right.
yeah, everybody knows about it. Everybody knows like your previous travel history and all that, depending on how
Right.
many cases there are, and it's just something you get used to eventually. Um,
Yeah.
there's no end in sight right now. It's just kind of like we just go with the flow. We roll with the punches. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Because I mean, I'm in Thailand, and I thought things were bad here, but life is totally normal here, except that we wear masks still. But the things that change every day are, like bars can open an hour later. Oh, next week they're going to open an hour later. And so it's all positive changes, things that are like progressively getting better to where things are pretty much back to normal. But I know I've got some teacher friends in Shanghai who are posting that they're getting their tests every day. And it's crazy. I
mm,
really don't, if I was living there, I really don't know if I could tolerate it to that extent. If I had the choice. I know not everyone's got the choice. And so,
yeah,
but
I'm definitely glad I'm not in Shanghai right now because I do have friends there, and I just can't imagine the situation they're in.
yeah, for sure. Well, all right. Let's sort of dive into, because you've got lots of experience with, doing business in China and helping foreigners do business in China. And I know you're not like a teacher, or you have you taught before, or you're not, you don't have a teaching background, do you?
I've taught before on VIP Kid as like part time,
Oh,
also
yes.
long
Okay,
time
that does
ago.
ring a bell. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
were.
I have,
Okay,
and I do
I
know the
forgot about that.
landscape here because people
Yeah.
ask me to, and I'm like, no, 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 I'm not doing that anymore. But I
Okay.
I mainly focus on bridging the gap to allow people to either sell inside of China or sell from China to the rest of the world, like if they want to sell their e-commerce store. So I've been here for 4+ years. I speak the language. I
Yeah.
am a parent myself. My wife is Chinese, so I definitely understand
Yeah.
some of the requirements they have of their children and the education. And I also talk to her friends that are also parents. And
Yeah.
I've talked to like let's say a handful of teachers that I've helped them kind of penetrate the Chinese market. I kind of give them some insights and some advice on how to go ahead and move forward if they do want to teach independently.
Yeah, very cool. I know you will get to how you can help teachers towards the end. And if you're just tuning in, it's Michael from Borderless Commerce, and I've got his information below. And so, you mentioned people wanting to sell within China, and essentially that's kind of what we're basically doing. We're just, selling a service, and trying to navigate all those things with the firewall and the difficulties with payments and things like that. But I think that one of the big changes that happened when teachers stopped working for companies and went independent was that now we were the ones that had to approach the parents in a completely new light. We weren't sort of, sharing fun photos with their children about classes, and kind of talking on a very casual basis. We're now like running our own business and sort of shifting into, hey, selling the classes, and hoping that they would bite at the prices that we're charging. So I'm kind of curious, like, some teachers have a lot of difficulty with that. So what's the sort of current mindset of Chinese parents right now who are looking and needing maybe classes for their kids? Can you talk about that at all, and sort of maybe how
Yeah.
we can sort of better understand that? Because I think that's really helpful, especially
Yeah.
where you're married to someone who's Chinese and are kind of on the ground and deal with
Yeah.
that sort of stuff on a daily basis.
So, for those of you tuning in, let me first explain what happened. If this is like your first time hearing this and your target market is, in fact, China or Chinese students, there was a policy that came out about 2 years ago called double reduction. And what it did is that it didn't allow elementary grade students, like from grades 1 through 7 or plus, to be able to take English as an extracurricular class, as like an optional class outside of school hours. So that includes weekends, and even after like 8 or 7 or 8 p.m., they're not allowed to take it as like an elective course or have supplemental training. The reason they did this, so that everyone has some context, is they want to put less pressure on the expenses that one has to endure when raising a child in China. Before, I'm sure you guys knew used to be a one-child policy. Now you can have up to 3 children per family, and sometimes even more, depending on where you are in China. So they want to relieve some of that stress that they had on the parents, because it could be kind of expensive. So if you were on a platform like VIP Kid or Go Go Ears or Matt, all those different platforms, you would only see what you would get on one end, but you wouldn't see what they would charge the parents. So obviously the company has to get a cut out of it too. And it was kind of stressful for some of them. Now, I'm not saying the market's not there anymore. Of course, it's still there. But after that policy, uh, in China, there are a lot of companies that have this business model: pay first, and then we'll give you the service as you go. So, what do I mean? So, if you want to have like a long term partnership with someone like an English training center back then, you would have to pay for like a 6 month curriculum or a course up front. Like, it's not like 10% deposit. No, you pay up front, and then they will give you the class for 6 months. But when this policy came out, there were tons of parents who paid like 10 to 20,000 RMB, which is like $3,000 to $4,000 for maybe a 3 to 6 month program. And some of them couldn't get their money back because maybe like the big companies like VIP Kid, they probably were able to get their money back if they asked for a refund. But there were a lot that didn't get their money back. So they are in a paranoid state after that. Like they don't want to put too much into the deposit up front. So getting them just to bite is kind of difficult now, especially if you do like long courses or like a 10 course program or 20 course program, whatever it may be. Don't be surprised if they're very hesitant to go ahead and make that purchase. Now, with that being said, it's not just the online side that got affected. The offline side got affected too, because although there were convenient platforms online, a lot of the online training centers all shut down. Like if they didn't get the special certification that's like almost impossible to get, they shut down. And you can guess that the money kind of like went away. So just understand a little bit about their paranoia. So when you go and pitch yourself to these Chinese parents, have that in the back of your head. Hey, a money back guarantee or something that makes them feel a little bit more at ease. Now, education is still very serious here. A lot of parents strive for their kids to go overseas to study. It's still happening nowadays, even with COVID. They're still allowing students to go travel overseas and then, get more exposure to the outside education. So that market is still there. But just understand that in in today's how would you say, in the
Climate?
environment today, yeah, the climate today and the environment today, a lot of the parents are hesitant to start. It's not that they don't want to, they still want to give their children education, but they're more paranoid and more careful about the the tutoring programs and the teachers that they let into their lives.
Sure, I agree, and I think that it's even harder when it's maybe you're dealing with someone that doesn't know you and has maybe come from another parent or has found you organically somehow, or you've crossed paths uh, online somewhere. Sending money to a complete stranger that you've got no experience with is a little daunting for them, and especially coming out of the whole situation where they may not have got their refunds back and things like that. So do you know parents, Chinese families that are still looking for ESL classes? Like, what's the sort of, do you hear about parents that are out there, or your wife or her friends?
Yeah. I laugh because it's like a black market now to be
Yeah,
frank. There's a lot of jokes on it on like the Chinese version on TikTok and everything, where people are like paying under the table to have private lessons in their house, and then the cops bust in.
right.
So it's kind of funny. So the market is definitely there. I mean, there's you guys know, you guys used to be, a lot of you used to teach on those platforms. Um,
Yeah.
but how they are now is, yes, it happens, but on the down low. So they have to find like these independent freelancers or teachers to be able to provide them, because, like I mentioned before, right now you cannot legally set up an English training center in China.
Hmm.
There's no channels inside the mainland to be able to set this up. So it's very getting more and more difficult to be able to set these up. And even if you do advertise it in China, if let's say you're advertising on WeChat, not like the moments, but the actual paid advertisement on WeChat.
Which is very difficult for us to do.
Yeah, it's very difficult. You need to have a Chinese partner, and if they
Yeah.
find out you're selling these education services, they'll shut you down very quickly. And
Yeah.
that's just one example. So yeah, it still happens hush hush. Mainly, it's a lot of word of mouth.
Totally.
Surprisingly, it's just right now it's word of mouth.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So what's your sort of, so what are some tips that you have in terms of, approaching them with that understanding behind you and selling yourself to them?
Yeah,
I work with a lot of teachers who, are increasing their rates from what they were charging with companies, and are sometimes met with opposition from parents, those parents that are potentially price shopping, looking around. And I generally say those are probably not the parents you want to deal with long term. But I understand that sometimes there's that like desperation to like grab the first parent that
yeah.
agrees, even if it is a lower price. So how do you sell yourself to parents? What are your tips on that?
So in the climate right now, surprisingly, you have the power. As you just mentioned, like you don't want to go too low on the price. You actually have the power, especially if you built that bridge for them to be able to communicate with you and set services up with you. So if I were trying to sell to a Chinese parent right now in this climate, um, I would first have to prove myself. You need to prove yourself. So whether you knew them when you used to teach on platforms online and you still contact them on WeChat or other social media platforms, or it's someone that like referred you, hey, this is a person that needs their children to have some English, their English is not doing so well. You need to show upfront your qualifications. So before, if you wanted to apply on those platforms to teach, you would need to go through a process. There would be like an interview process, a trial class, and all that. So you need to show your certificate, like your bachelor's degree at a minimum, because if you want to be able to teach anything inside of China, even if you're physically in here, you need to have some kind of bachelor's degree. You need to have a TEFL or TESOL, at least have that in hand, because if they don't see that, like they're not going to be comfortable with
Hmm.
doing business with you, especially if you can run away and if you're overseas. And also have a lot of testimonials or showcases. So hopefully, if you've been teaching for a while, maybe not in China, but around the world, you probably have some testimonials or at least some proof of your previous experience. Typically, if you're running any kind of business, especially freelancing, I always recommend people to have some kind of a portfolio to showcase, hey, this is the experience I have, this is what I would do. But
Mm.
one key point is, as I mentioned, education is still very important here. I want you to tell me what the difference of these two ways to sell to someone is. Hey, I offer this 30-minute class. We can try it and see and go from there, and we can see what we can do to improve your child's English proficiency. So that's one way to market it. Or you can say, hey, I'll take the sample class with you. I will assess your child's English ability, and I will create a custom curriculum to improve your child's SAT score by 100 points in the reading comprehension, or improve their points by a certain amount in their Gaokao. Gaokao is like the SAT of China that they have to pass, and there's an English section. So if you were a parent, you'd probably go with the second way to say, hey, if I were to try with you, you'd make a custom curriculum for them, and you can guarantee, not guarantee, but you can like almost get them to a higher level of English that would get them a better SAT score to go overseas for studying, or get them a
Sure.
better score to go to a better college inside of China. So those are like the two different ways of seeing it. So to kind of wrap it up and kind of like summarize it, prove your certifications and your qualifications. So you need to upfront your degree, your TESOL, your TOEFL, and any testimonials or previous lessons and experience you can showcase them through portfolio. The second is how you market it. Like, you just want to give them a trial class, or you want to give them an outcome that they can look forward to when you're
Yes,
promoting these services.
so good. Yeah, so true. It goes back to like, you know, we are generalists in a way, ESL teachers coming off of platforms, but we did get results for students, and it's important to figure out where you shine in terms of getting results, and what can you um, not always necessarily promise, but at least provide actionable results on with a student. And sometimes when we get a referral from a parent, we kind of think, well, it's in the bag, like they've come from a parent that I already have. But that's not to say that they've got another friend who's got an ESL teacher who's teaching their daughter, right? So I would be very surprised if they're not looking at other teachers as well, in this whole process. So I love what you just shared there, because I think that's really valuable. And Codeman says, yeah, good point on the SAT scores. Um, Dan asks, just while we interject a question here, would you warn against photos posted on WeChat groups showing happy teaching moments? Well, WeChat groups are private.
Yeah. So if you're talking about WeChat moments or WeChat groups, if you're talking about like the internal groups, I mean, it's okay to share, but you can't be
Yeah,
advertising, hey, I'm selling this English right here. Like, I'm selling this English
yeah,
package right here. That's a little risky.
exactly.
Just for
One
some
of the things I
context.
suggest
Oh,
is, like, if you're going to
oh,
share graphics or things like that, do it in the light of helping and adding value. And then, you can have that link back to you where you have your QR code on there or something, and they can then, get in touch with you if they're interested. It's pretty obvious you're an ESL teacher, if you're, sharing some English tips without going on and saying, I offer ESL classes, please contact me. I will be able to charge you, and et cetera, et cetera. What were you going to say? Sorry, I think I interrupted you.
no, it's cool. I say, like you just said, don't be too pushy with the sales. Just give them free content, give them free like tips, and then they can contact you if interested. Like, you don't need to be so pushy with the sales, and then I
Yeah.
think you'll be all right there.
Hey, Masangu, also joining the webinar tomorrow. Hey, Jillian, teaching English online. I do mine on subscription. Oh, I think you're talking about lots of teachers I've heard about doing, like, they charge every month. It's like a monthly subscription, and they, in that price per month, they run a certain amount of classes with that child. So sort
Yeah.
of a more stable way of doing it, I guess. I haven't done that, but I've heard it's helpful. Hey, sorry I'm late. I'm in Thailand. OMG. Yes, me too. Where are you at, Steve? Hey, Brian. Coleman says I have a link my parents can access and see my credentials, and it keeps it all private. Yeah, that's great. It allows them to feel more confident and comfortable. Yeah, great. There's lots of ways of doing it. I mean, you don't need to have a full-blown website necessarily. Yes, and it auto bills. Oh, great. That's awesome. Very cool. Um, so where were we? Okay. Selling yourself. Okay, those are some really good tips. And if you've got any questions, put them in the chat, folks, if you're watching. What about referrals from parents? Like, is that something, that's something that a lot of us are employing? Do you think that's beneficial? Do you have any insights into that, to sort of, get parents to shout you out all over the place? What's your thoughts there?
Yeah. So as mentioned previously, the market is still there. It's huge. For one of the companies I
I
work
agree.
for, because I'm like the only foreigner there, they asked me if I can teach their kids, and I'm like, no, I
Right.
don't do that. I don't do that. But word goes by quickly. So if you
But
do a good job,
you're allowed. Why? You must teach English.
yeah, I know, right? If you do a good job, you can incentivize them. So let me pull back the curtain so that you understand how VIP Kid used to
Oh, I
do it.
like it. Yeah. Let's have it. Let's do it.
V
Yeah.
VIP Kid used to get the referrals by, hey, if you get a client to scan this code and sign up for a package, like a package, then you get 30% off, or you get a certain number of lessons free. So if you can offer them to either give them cheaper lessons or maybe 1 or 2 free lessons, if they offer you somebody, that would definitely be something you can get more referrals
Personally, I
on.
would go with one. I think if you get in, like, I don't know, it's a lot of free lessons, to be honest. I sort of I like the one free lesson for a referral. That's worked for me a couple of times. I didn't loathe doing that lesson for free because it brought in a new parent, or a new student. But more than that might have been a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. I mean,
But
it
yeah, I
doesn't,
get you.
of course, it doesn't have to be free. Maybe a discounted rate or
Or
something that they
discounted
feel like they're
price.
getting something from it, you know?
Yep, exactly. No, I think that's really, really good. And really, if you're a great teacher and you're making this whole process seamless and you're doing a great job, a lot of parents will recommend you without a referral program. Like, that's just a testament to your great teaching, and that the system is in place for everything to happen, your platform,
Yeah.
your payment processing, all that jazz. And, hey, they'll happily recommend you, because, like you said, the market is hot. There's still lots of people wanting classes, even now. Almost a year after most of the companies went bust. So
And it's like you don't have to overcomplicate it. You can sell a package where like you can master pronouns or something. By the
yeah,
end of this 5-course program, your child will be able to master pronouns, at least basic pronouns, maybe present tense or something like that.
and the
So you
more
don't have to like
specific you can
overcomplicate.
be, if you can tailor a course like that to a particular child, like after you've maybe worked with them for a little while and maybe provided just general click slide type VIP kiddish lessons, but you really can see that they would benefit from, let's say, a very structured grammar course where that's all you're doing for 6 weeks. You can charge more. You're offering a very specialized, type of course. So I just wanted to throw that in there. I don't do online lessons. All mine are physical classes, but I've been doing it for years. Oh, good. Good to have you, Facebook user. If you're watching on Facebook, you can authorize Facebook to show your name, at facebook.com/StreamYard. They will want to improve and maintain their levels, allow them to decide when they're done. Yeah, the one free lesson per package or referral works for me. Yeah. Leslie says, I've got one 17-year-old and I'm wondering how much longer I will have her. Yeah. Hey, my sort of success story, I don't know if success is the right word, but I've had one student for 12 years. He was my first online student when I taught him in first grade. I left, moved to Malaysia, kept him as a 6-year-old, and all the way through now he's 17 and he's graduating this year. So I think this is the last package, and it's probably time to end. It's been a long, long time, but I've literally watched this boy grow up. It's pretty cool. But he was my first online student, and yeah, it's time to go. He doesn't need me anymore.
Oh, how they grow.
Yeah. I'd actually really love to watch him graduate, but I know that it's just impossible to get in there now. Cool. So let's just talk a little bit about, did you have anything else to say about the referrals? That was one point
I
that I was
have
asking
one
you
more
about.
tip.
Yeah, go for it.
So, of course, with this kind of price and everything, but you want to be the host of what you're running. So, what do I mean by that? So, if you don't have a WeChat account, get one. When in Rome, do like the Romans, right? That is how
Yeah.
they communicate there. Once you have a WeChat account and you start building the customer database, well, like database, like customer
Yeah.
contacts, you can start making a group of these parents. And
Yep.
like I said, don't be pushy. Just put out free information. Be like, oh, look, this person just passed this test, or this person just got into this college. They got a perfect score in the SAT. Now, don't be promising that, but
Many of us are teaching under 12, so maybe not
yeah,
SAT, but
yeah.
but like they did a great job on this lesson, or celebrate success. I agree with you 100%.
So like you just make the group, you host it, you add more parents, and then you say, hey, if you add a parent and they use this code, do the whole referral thing, and it will grow. It will
Yeah,
grow, but it is time consuming to do that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. To manage and keep updated the WeChat group is going to be time consuming, but it can get you customers in the long run.
for sure. I agree with you. Jen, hey, and
I see
Steve-O.
that question.
Yes, I watched. Okay, I just have to say, wait a second. Was it Steve-O that was? Yeah, you did a comedy show in KL, and I was there. Yes, that was like a year ago. It was just before I left KL to come to Bangkok. Anyway, side story. Really funny guy. And Jen's great too. But what's the easiest way to get paid by Chinese students? Why is good? No. So yeah, I've got videos out there about, and you would say the same thing. No. A lot of us are invoicing with a Stripe account. Set up a Stripe business account, and you can get WeChat Pay as a payment option on your Stripe invoicing, and then you will send the invoice to the parent with they will get a QR code, and they'll be able to scan that QR code and pay by WeChat Pay. I have not found anything else easier than that, and many of us independent teachers are using that method. But the expert, Michael, what do you say about that?
I want to kind of like spin the question around a little bit.
Sure.
So what's easier for you? Easier for you is if the Chinese customer has a PayPal account and they can just send you the money via PayPal.
Sure.
But that's not the market. That's not like the majority of
Yeah.
what Chinese parents are at. So easiest for them, which should always be the case, if you're doing any business, you want to make it easiest for the customer. You want the customer journey to be better, is to be able to accept funds either through WeChat or Alipay. And there are a couple methods you can do that. The first one, as Tim mentioned, open a Stripe account and then you do the invoicing with Stripe, or you link it to an e-commerce store and then they can just pay you on the website. What I like about the website is that you don't have to actively be in sales. Like you can be sleeping and they can pay for a program and you'll get the bill the next morning and you're like, woohoo, I got paid. Another way is to open an Alipay merchant account, and you have to go through a process, and you have to actually have a company established, like an individual company, to go through the application process, and then they can help you be the middle person to accept Alipay payments, and then you get the money in your bank account in your country.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another video.
Yeah, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole.
But yeah. So that lends itself, kind of leads into kind of what you do and how you can help teachers. So I've talked about you before when teachers were needing WeChat verification, and I think a few from the channel here came and sought you out because for whatever reason they couldn't get verified, and I know that you still provide that service. I know you also do a full website package that includes design, calendar integration, translation to Chinese, testing, and accessibility, because you're on the ground in China, and payments with the Chinese network. It's not super cheap, right, in terms of getting like that more complicated setup. But it is something that you can provide, for someone who kind of wants someone in China to really facilitate that. Did I cover everything that you do?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you can
that's a
and you also help people with e-commerce stores as well, right?
well, yeah, my main gig is to help people run e-commerce stores and help them source from China, but I do help with the WeChat, which helps a
Yeah.
lot of people get access to Chinese clients, like to talk to them, because
What does that cost again? That's $15,
WeChat
was it?
like $15
So yeah,
for
there's a link in the description. If you're watching this, you need WeChat. You want to deal with Chinese clients, get in their ecosystem. You need to be on WeChat. So if that's something that you're struggling with, he can help you with that. And that link will also let you contact him if you've got any other
yeah.
questions as well. Ni Hao Pay. Yeah, I've heard of that. Have you?
Ni Hao Pay, not when it comes to getting the money from China to outside of China.
Okay.
When it's money in China going outside of China, I'm not sure Ni Hao Pay works. Outside of China, inside China, yes, but I'll double check on that one.
Thanks so much. So if you have your own e-commerce website, then you can accept payments via WeChat Pay. I don't have WeChat. If you have your own e-commerce website, so yes, so if you guys have your own e-commerce website, you can accept payments via WeChat Pay. Correct.
Yeah. So it
I
doesn't
don't have
matter if you have an
WeChat.
account or not.
You don't need. Yeah,
Oh,
we're not talking about your WeChat wallet or anything like that into your WeChat app or anything like that. We're just talking about right? So I'm like saying it correctly, allowing the customer to be able to pay via WeChat Pay. And as long as you've got a Stripe account and you've got your WeChat Pay authorized as a payment method, then yeah. Wait, how do we refer people to him for the WeChat service? So the link in the description of this video, you want to just shout that out, Michael? Borderlesscommerce.net/contact us.
yeah. So he'll put the link, but you can just go to borderlesscommerce.net and then he'll have like the WeChat package, or you can just contact us and you can just send me a note and I'll send you the link and work from there. I do
Okay.
also, if you have time, Tim, I can show an example of what the flow would be like if they were interested on the website.
Okay. Yep. Do you want to do a screen share?
Yeah, let's see if I can try.
I'm not sure that you can. Can you?
Yes, I think I can.
Okay. I should have got you to
Okay.
populate that in before. Okay, there you are. I have to add it to the stream.
Okay.
All
So
right.
this is like a kind of an example of what the website would look like if you're interested in. So there's different packages that you would offer, and this would be flexible based on what you have, but I'm just going to pick on the trial class now. So here the customer can pick the date, and note that this is in China time. So for them it's in China time, for you it's in whatever your local time is. And this can be integrated with Outlook or whatever calendar you use. So let's say I want to pick this time, then you just put like your information, the cost, and then here's the kicker once it loads. So then proceed to checkout. And then the customer can pay here on Alipay, and they can just proceed to checkout and they're done. And then it tells you the time that they booked the class, what the class is and all that, and they're finished. And then this money, once they pay on this website, will then go straight to your bank account after the funds are settled. So something as simple as that, you can have Alipay or WeChat Pay, depending on what Stripe has authorized for you to open. But yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. Let's see if there's any other questions, and then we'll pop on off of here. Katie's so Katie's got a lot of experience as well with doing business in China. Nihao only works inside mainland China, but is better integrated with WeChat and Alipay. No need to scan with a second device. Right. Brandy is the official rep, so go ask her for info, though. Don't know who she is. Who's Brandy? Yes, Julian saying thank you. Brandy Hodge. Okay, I see you wrote it up here. Expert on Ni Hao Pay. Okay, maybe she's a Facebook user. Someone can look him up. Okay. Anything else? I think we covered it a lot. That was good. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, Tim, for having me.
Yeah, it's late there. Hopefully the kids are in bed. And thanks for coming on.
Stephanie has a question.
Yeah, there we go. Could you possibly help South Africans set up a Stripe account?
Okay, so I'm gonna have some bad news for you, some good news.
Thanks for the question.
The good news
Stephanie.
is it's possible. It's possible, but the bad news is that it's not free. Unfortunately, to set up a Stripe account, you have to be part of certain countries, and there's a way around that. But then you would have to like make a remote company in the U.S., and then under the U.S. company, you would open a Stripe account. So there is a way, and I have helped people with other e-commerce stores, not with teaching, but with other e-commerce stores, set it up so that they can receive PayPal and Stripe. So that's one way. Another way is you can Google, like if you have time, just Google Alipay merchant account. And then you can just go through the application process in there. South Africa is on that list. They can apply for an account. And then once you have that approved, then you can integrate that to your e-commerce store. So Alipay merchant account on Google. And then you
And when you say e-commerce store, we're talking just a website.
Just a website, like,
yeah. What's e-commerce? I'm not doing e-commerce. I'm just teaching. Yeah, if you just have a website and you want to have a payment gateway, payment page in there, then. But yeah, it's tough for South Africans. I know it is. Okay, South Africans. Yeah, so there. I know. I was thinking that, but there are like individuals and some businesses that have sort of set up ways that South Africans can accept their payments through like a business Stripe account, and then be able to, that business would take like a small cut and send it out. I don't know what Koala Go. I'll actually be having them on the channel next week. But they're for you, if you don't know, Michael, they're like a kind of like a Zoom for teachers in terms of like a platform to teach on, with interactivity and stuff like that. But I believe that they're able to, they're doing accepting payments as well. Okay, cool. Yeah, they charge a 2% extra fee. So it almost becomes as expensive as like PayPal, which is ridiculous. But anyway, thanks for joining the 7 or 8 people that just popped on. I see the numbers going up. You are catching the end of it, but this will be available for replay if you would like to watch that later on and ask any questions. Reach out to Michael with the information below. Thanks, Michael. Have a good rest of the night, and we'll talk soon. Always good to have you on.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Thanks again. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Don't forget that I am running that webinar tomorrow, 3 secrets to launching and growing your online ESL teaching business. We're gonna have a good time there, and lots of value if you're just starting out and this independent teaching thing has been in the back of your head for a while. You want to get started. This webinar is for you. I'm going to be sharing 3 secrets to getting started, to launching and growing and scaling, and really things that have worked for me and many of my former students from other courses that I've run in the past. Huge success stories, and just really motivating when you see what's possible when you just take action. And it's as simple as that, just taking action. We're nobody special. We don't have access to anything that you don't have access to. A lot of times it comes down to mindset and to just wanting to achieve the goals that you have for yourself in your life, whatever that is. So would love to have you join. I will say goodbye now if there's no other questions. Yeah, thanks so much, everyone, for joining. And I will see you on the next live. We'll be here next Monday. And I believe I've got Koala Go coming on to talk about their platform and the online teaching world. And so that'll be great to have you there if you can join. As always, happy teaching, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.